Let's imagine you were suddenly transported to London in the year 1350. The Black Death is raging through the city like an unstoppable wildfire racing across dry summer grass. The very first thing that hits you is the air. Not a clean breeze, but a heavy, suffocating wall made of thick smoke from thousands of fires, mixed with the sharp stench of rotting waste and human excrement everywhere. The streets beneath your feet are not paved roads. They are filthy rivers of mud, excrement, and rotting garbage that reach up to your ankles with every step. The ground is slick and treacherous. You have to move slowly to avoid slipping into the worst of it. In the narrow shadows between overhanging houses, people are already coughing violently, some spitting dark blood onto the ground. Every few steps, the grin sound cuts through the noise, the slow, mournful tolling of a bell on the dead cart as it rumbles past on wooden wheels. A hoarse voice cries out repeatedly, "Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead!" Piles of bodies wrapped in rough, stained rags are heaped on the cart, swaying with every bump in the road. There exists a common claim that a modern person would be doomed within hours in medieval London. And honestly, most would be. No immunity to ancient strains of plague, dysentery, typhoid. No antibiotics, no clean water, no germ theory. The odds are brutal. But here's the twist rarely discussed. People did survive. Tens of thousands lived through the worst years of the plague in London. The city didn't empty completely. Families rebuilt. Trade continued. Life went on. Messy, painful, but resilient. So could you, armed with 21st century knowledge, beat those odds? Let's break it down, step by brutal step. What would give you any real edge in this nightmare? First and foremost, water. The Thames River, right there in the heart of the city, looks like a lifeline, but it is pure poison. It serves as both the main drinking source and the open sewer for the entire slaughterhouses, tanneries, and household waste of 40,000 people. One single sip of this raw river water, and a modern gut, unused to these ancient pathogens, would collapse in days from cholera, dysentery, or typhoid fever. The locals understood this danger instinctively. They drank small beer instead, weak ale, lightly fermented, just strong enough to kill most harmful bacteria through the brewing process. It was safer than water, no boiling needed, and the alcohol content, even low, acted as a natural disinfectant. Your only smart move? Find a brewer or a tavern quickly. Pay with whatever coins you have, and drink only ale from that moment on. No exceptions. Avoid the river at all costs, literally like the plague itself. Food is the next deadly trap. There are no refrigerators here. Meat and fish spoil within hours after slaughter in this warm, humid air. Dishonest butchers sometimes wash old, green-tinged cuts in fresh blood to make them look red again, or mask the rot with heavy herbs. Street pies and sausages? A deadly game of chance with parasites and bacteria hiding inside. The safest choices are simple. Fresh-baked bread from a trusted baker. Ask around for reputation. Hard cheese that lasts longer. Eggs if you can find fresh ones. Dried fruits or nuts. Eat vegetables only if boiled thoroughly. And use what the locals relied on. Garlic, onions, vinegar, natural antiseptics that actually work against some bacteria. Chew slowly, eat small portions. Your stomach isn't ready for this harsh diet yet. Hygiene becomes your absolute superpower in this world. Medieval people washed their hands and face when they could, often just with a damp cloth. But full baths were rare, maybe once a month or less. You know far better from modern science. If you can find fire in a pot, boil water thoroughly before using it to clean your skin, wounds, or even rinse your mouth. Use vinegar or weak wine whenever possible. Alcohol kills bacteria on contact. Wipe your hands, face, and any small cuts with it. Wear tight clothing, long sleeves, and keep your hood up as much as you can. Fleas hate tight fabric and can't jump as far. Avoid touching rats, dead bodies, or anyone showing buboes, those swollen, painful lymph nodes. If you see a door marked with a red cross or quarantine sign, cross the street immediately. Social distancing wasn't invented in 2020. Quarantine practices already existed in 1350. Houses were boarded up for 40 days when plague struck. Stay away from crowded markets like Cheapside during peak hours. Plague spreads mainly through fleas on black rats. The disease jumps from rat to flea to human bite. Minimize contact. Live on the outskirts if you can find shelter, less density, fewer rats. Sleep elevated off the floor if possible. Fleas jump only short distances. Shake out your bedding every day. If bitten anyway, pray for a mild case. Some people recovered naturally and built immunity. Bubonic plague had a 30 to 60% mortality rate without treatment, but survivors often lived on with scars. Your best defense is prevention. Avoid the bite entirely. London was rough. Murder rates were maybe 10 to 20 times higher than today. Armed retainers of lords roamed freely. But most violence was personal or opportunistic. Don't stare, don't argue, don't show wealth. Blend in. Dirty clothes, quiet demeanor, pay debts fast. At night, curfew bells ring. Get indoors immediately. Medicine in 1350 is mostly worse than the illness itself. Forget bloodletting. It weakens patients more than it helps. If you get sick, the only real options are rest, hydration with safe ale, and keeping as clean as possible. Herbal remedies like yarrow or feverfew might ease fever or pain slightly, but they're no cure. Luck plays a massive role. Some people had natural genetic resistance, mutations that protected against certain plague strains. Others simply never got bitten by an infected flea. You can stack every advantage with knowledge and caution, but in the end, fortune decides who lives and who doesn't. The people who survived 1350 weren't superheroes or saints. They were ordinary bakers kneading dough at dawn, brewers tending vats, merchants counting coins, mothers caring for children through grief. They buried family members, watched neighbors die, yet they kept going. They rebuilt the city brick by brick, family by family. Their stubborn endurance, their refusal to give up, laid the foundation for the London we know today. So yes, you could survive. Not comfortably, not without scars, but with caution, hygiene hacks, and sheer willpower. The real horror isn't the dirt, the disease, or the darkness. It's realizing how fragile human life is and how incredibly tough our ancestors were to keep humanity alive through it all. Their resilience made our world possible. What do you think? Would you make it through a day, a week, a year in Black Death London? Drop your survival tips or thoughts in the comments below. If you want more, could you survive? Dives into history's darkest corners. Hit subscribe and ring the bell. We're traveling through time, one grim tale at a time.
Oh, gross. Get off me. They're still moving.